Live from Greenwich, Connecticut, you're watching the greatest classic car show in the entire Northeast, the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance on BeTerrific. Welcome back, Terrifics, to your live coverage of the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance here in Greenwich, Connecticut, 2017. I'm Michael Artis. You're the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. Thanks so much for joining us. We're having a lot of fun. This is the best car show in the entire world in my mind because it's a lot of fun. A lot of the people here drive their cars here, and the reality is it's very laid back. And so I just love this show. I think it's without a doubt probably the best car show on the Northeast, but I think it's the greatest ever because it's just a lot of fun. I've got Paul here. Paul's got some very serious, pretty amazing bikes, and I'm not the biggest bike guy, but I love old motorcycles. This reminds me, I have a shot of my grandfather fighting in World War II. He's on a motorcycle that looks exactly like this Harley with a shotgun or some kind of gun up there in the holster, and it's just this great shot, some saddlebags. You're in the sidecar. What is this bike?
So you're probably correct. The World War I era. This is a 1918 JD Harley Davidson. It's all original paint. It's been in a family. I got it about 2 months ago. I just got this motorcycle. The thing about this bike, it's never been taken apart, and with a matching sidecar. The sidecar is a little more rusty than the motorcycle. That's because the motorcycle was inside the barn and the sidecar was sitting outside the barn. But this bike is 100% real. Very, very rare.
This is original leather even?
No, well, we did, 100-year-old tires and rims. We changed those, and we reupholstered the seat because the rats in the barn ate the seat. So it used to be a beautiful, nice 1918 leather. Yeah, those days are gone. But it's a very, very rare piece. 1918.
Now this has a shifter on the left side. So instead of like a typical bike today, you would shift using your feet. This you would shift with your hand.
Exactly. What you notice in the new motorcycles, there are levers hanging off the handlebars. There's no levers on this. So you have no front brake, number one, on 1918. And number two, the clutch handle is now on your foot. It's called a suicide shift. And you use a foot clutch and you hand shift it. We can go around with the cameras on the other side.
Oh, they've got them, and we'll show it in a minute.
Yeah.
I love this. So this is something that would be issued by the U.S. Armed Services back in 1918, 19, 20, 21.
Well, this is 1918, and it's got electric headlight, electric taillight, and electric horn. So this is probably the most expensive motorcycle you could buy for Harley Davidson. If it was government issued, it would never have those options.
Wow.
So, there's a lot of patina on here that we can talk about.
Very cool, yeah. And how did you first get into bikes?
Oh, 13 years old, crossed the street, and Harley Davidson used to make golf carts. I started working on Harley Davidson golf carts. It's been Harley Davidson ever since.
Wow. I didn't know that they made golf carts. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So over here, you can see the clutch pedal, obviously.
Yeah, we can demonstrate that quite easily. So on a Harley, it's toe to go. This is your clutch right here on this rocker.
Wow.
So when you pull up to light, So now, let me ask you a question. If I didn't have the sidecar, and I have to use this foot for the clutch, and the rear brake is on the other side, and I stop on a hill.
You probably got to walk the bike to the top of the hill.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Wow.
So
I see where they came up with the suicide clutch. Now, there's a kind of a kick pedal, I guess. That's to kind of get it started?
It's a completely kickstart motorcycle. Sometimes it kicks in 2 starts, and sometimes it doesn't kick at all. They're stubborn. They have a mind of their own. So you would kick it through, and you can hear it cranking over. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just sucking some fuel out of the gas tank and onto the cylinders so that when I turn the ignition on, spark. But most motorcycles, you'll notice, have 2 hand grips, but both of these turn. What's going on here? There 2 throttles? No. On your left-hand side, you're doing your timing, the timing which sets your points and spark, and this one's doing your fuel.
You really had to know what you were doing to drive this.
You had to be a mechanic. Yeah. You got to understand the engine and how it works.
Does it run?
Yeah, it does run.
And have you driven it?
I drove it yesterday and put it in the truck.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I've done 3 motorcycle cannonball races across the United States on a 1913 Harley, 1925 Harley. I've done 3 races doing vintage. Really love vintage.
And so your family bought this motorcycle about 1918 and kept it in the family ever since, or?
No. This motorcycle I got 2 months ago.
Oh, I thought you had it in the family, though.
A woman's grandfather left it to her. Now she's 65 years old, lives in Pennsylvania. If you notice this license plate on the back, it's a 1918 Pennsylvania license plate. This was a one family-owned bike. The woman, about 67 years old, decided she needed a new car. So she took it to the local dealer, said, I'll trade the bike in, you give me a new car, and they did the deal.
Wow.
And then a collector in Montezuma, Kansas, put this on eBay 2 months ago.
And you said, I have to have this. What does a bike like this go for?
Priceless.
Priceless. I noticed it's got
Priceless.
no speedometer, too.
Yeah, speed wasn't, you're on dirt roads, 1918. It's not paved highway. Yeah, it's, but Dale walks the wheels through time, has given me so much knowledge and helped me get this motorcycle running. Well, it took us about an hour and a half and it hadn't run in 20 years.
Wow.
So a lot of shout goes out to Dave Walker down Wheels Through Time, Maggie Valley. He's got a beautiful museum. If you love to see vintage motorcycles, that is the museum. And everything in there runs. It's the museum that runs.
That's what I like. I like cars and bikes that run, and I like vintage bikes. I am, not so into new bikes, but I love vintage bikes. I think they're beautiful. And to me, back then they were so complicated to put together. As opposed to today, it seems like we can put anything together.
What I'd like to share with you is before we started with motorcycles, we started with moto bikes. I'll take you over and show you a 1905 era if you'd like to see it.
I would love to see it.
Great,
Absolutely.
let's do that.
So this is you said a 1901?
Okay, so what we have here, if you look at it, it's a bicycle.
This is beautiful.
It's a bicycle. It's a 1901 Monarch bicycle. Notice the wood rims, front and back. 1901, you don't have anything to bend steel round. 360, made it out of wood.
Unbelievable.
Then you go and they say, turn your bicycle into a moto bike. If you notice, the engine is all clips on. The exhaust system clips on, the coil clips on, the engine clips on, and then you screw a shiv onto the frame of the wheel. You had to extend this portion you had to do.
Okay.
And this was the beginning of motorcycles. It's a moto bike.
Wow. And
1901 Monarch bicycle with a 1905 Erie engine.
You've restored this?
A good friend of mine down in Florida, Larry Wood, he's my restorer on this project. Guy's 87 years old, invented the robots that are building the space station in space.
Wow.
He's a real physicist. And it takes a physicist to restore something that is the concourse level. When we got it, it was a rusty frame. The wheels are pretty, rough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fabrication into those wheels. We had to build the exhaust system.
Now, you said that the Harley was priceless, but this really is priceless.
There's 3 in the world.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
3 in the world. But
And
this is a priceless bike, too, because the patina on this bike,
Right.
the originality. Did you see the
did-
license plate?
We're going to take a look at the license plate. Can I ask you a couple more questions
Yeah,
about
let's
this,
go
and
to
we'll
this.
go back to the Harley?
Yeah.
So you would where would you even fill it with fuel back then? I guess those little
Okay,
2
so-
holes. And how did you? What
So
happened
what
when
we
you got the
can
motor running?
What we can show here is you have two tabs here.
Yeah.
And you have a horseshoe tank. The horseshoe tank, oil and gas. You would take a battery. This is not a toolbox. This is a battery box. You put your battery inside here. It will be a total loss system where the electronics will not charge up. So once your battery dies out, your spark plug won't light. You're back to pedaling in a bicycle. So
Wow.
don't go too far from home. The brass on brass conducts the electricity. This is the on and off switch. That's it.
And have you ever driven this, ridden it?
You know,
turned it on?
when I everything I own, I ride.
Yeah.
But this motorcycle, if I ride this and the rim cracks, I can't replace it.
Right. So.
So.
But you've had it running.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you ridden it like 10 feet?
Probably across the garage.
Yeah.
Which is a 50-foot garage.
There you go.
That's it.
You got some collection.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing other things now.
All right, all right. So okay, getting back to this Harley. Have you talked to the woman who owned it and sold it traded it in?
So she traded this for a new car.
Yeah.
The new car people called a collector. A collector went and purchased it. The collector was out in Montezuma, Kansas.
Right, and then you got it from him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't know if you reached out to the woman.
But if you look at some of the patina on this bike, you can actually see the original striping and the name on the tank. And then you look at the sidecar, it looks a lot more weathered.
Yeah.
You see that? Did I say this earlier?
You did, yeah.
But you can see that original Harley Davidson. Look at that original Harley Davidson sticker.
Unbelievable.
It's just vaguely there.
Yeah.
Once that fades off, a couple dollars fell down the drain.
I wish you could like clear coat it or something, but
No,
you can't.
no,
You got to leave it.
Yeah. So
It's beautiful, Paul.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much for
My
your
pleasure,
time, for
guys.
showing us
Have
this.
a great day. Enjoy the
Oh,
concours.
you too. The Greenwich Concours d'Elegance on BeTerrific.